Hello, it's Amy Zewe with the Jerusalem Connection Friday Red Alert Report for October 7. First, I'd like to wish a sweet Happy New Year to all of our Jewish friends and partners and those who celebrate. Rosh Hashanah has just passed and we are eagerly awaiting Yom Kippur. Welcome to the year 5777. That said, this week's report is actually going to take two parts because there's a lot to report on now that school's back in session in America, in Canada, and in Europe. Over the course of the last year and a half, I constantly alluded to the fact that the BDS movement, Boycott, Divest, Sanction, which is often active on college campuses, targeting Israel as a economic pressure to cease its companies from making any money and thus somehow altering their policy in the Middle East, that these groups are indeed anti-Zionist at best and anti-Semitic at worst. Some of that has now been tangibly proved in the bank system of Europe. The Bank of Ireland has shut down the bank account of a particular BDS group called Palestine Solidarity Campaign. They were making repeatedly known as high-risk transfers to the Palestinian territories. Banks all over Europe are engaging current anti-terrorist laws, including those banks in Germany, Austria, France, and other groups who have claimed to be human rights activists and who engage in BDS activities, but whose banking practices indicate that they are funneling money to terrorist groups in the Palestinian territories. No bank wants to shut down one of its clients, but they do have to remain good citizens of their nations and of the West to apply and make sure that anti-terrorist laws are adhered to, and that includes on the monetary front. Remember, the lawful discourse of criticism of Israel is certainly welcome on all college campuses, but their goal is usually to eliminate Israel from the map completely and any Jewish presence in the Middle East at best and in the world at large. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with an honest, intellectually honest academic debate about particular policies that Israel has ongoing in its nation and with its neighbors. However, the moment that conversation crosses the line where the Israeli nation has no right to exist and the Jewish people have no identity in the Middle East, therein it becomes anti-Zionist and crosses into anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is, in the West, considered illegal and discriminatory in most all nations. As well, the Christian Science Monitor just last week reported that the University of San Jose in California has had 2 anti-Semitic actions happen on campus. 2 college dorm rooms were found in the common areas to have swastikas and anti-Semitic language scrawled beside it, posted in these areas. Now, I reported last month that the UC California system, that is the university system there, their Board of Regents has, at the top level, drafted a policy that anti-Semitic actions and targeting any particular ethnic group was indeed against the rules. However, San Jose is having a difficult time applying this because now they are claiming that even though they caught the 2 men responsible for these actions, that they are not categorizing it as a hate crime because no particular individual was targeted, only an entire race of students. So that's a bit odd. So these policies that these universities claim they have on the books are moot if they are not enforced at the particular level. Now remember, the various groups such as the Students for Justice in Palestine are often the spearhead of BDS activities and are encouraging these sorts of activities. Beyond this overt anti-Semitism, such as graffiti, many schools are struggling to define what actually constitutes anti-Semitism while still trying to protect free speech among the discourse in the student body. And that's where intellectual honesty comes in and a truth in reporting about the particular conditions on the ground in Israel, the actual events that have taken place, the context, the immediate context, as well as the historical context. And this is the line that gets blurred because the BDS activists usually present some event in a skewed manner in order to gin up sympathy or some sort of hatred towards Israel. Scholarly debate about issues is often broken down into scandalous vandalism and discrimination and harassment against not only people who support Jewish people, but people who support or in any way claim to be anti-BDS or pro-Israel. So this has even gone as far as boycotting Jewish writers, artists, and performers who may be coming to any campus to share their craft or their expertise or their discipline. Oftentimes these Jewish guests are protested from even being on campus simply because of their Jewish identity. Nobody even knows, or it's not the context to ask them their particular thoughts about any given policy in the state of Israel in particular. Therefore, by definition, these kinds of protests are anti-Semitic. Fighting anti-Semitism on college campuses is not only good practice for issues such as diversity, inclusion, tolerance, and freedom and equality, it's actually also the law. The Anti-Defamation League consistently brings forth very specific instances and dates of harassment, intimidation, bullying that Jewish students on various campuses experience. And this is actually against the law. So there's a lot going on college campuses in the United States as well as those in Europe. And now that we're starting the new academic season for the fall of 2016, the list seems to keep going. Next week, I'm going to continue my discussion on these things and talk about what some actions are being taken against them. Shavua Tov, have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.